The Journalists and Writers Foundation has released a report that details how the Turkish government exploits the Counter-Terrorism Laws for its own interests. A summary of the report available on the website of the foundation JWF.org sheds light on the rationale behind the wholesale attack against the Hizmet Movement and the international legal implications of the actions of the Turkish government, particularly the violations of the international human rights law. The report, entitled Turkish Government's Abuse of Counterterrorism Laws, chronologically outlines the events before and the aftermath of the failed coup attempt of July 15, 2016, and draws attention to the Turkish government's illegal measures against the Hizmet movement through hate speech, political smear campaign, and defamation after the December 1725 corruption scandal. Stating that the Erdogan administration also accused the United States, the CIA, Israel, the Mossad, the European Union, Amnesty International, and many other states and organizations described as the international forces behind the coup attempt. The report criticizes the crude approach of the enormous government propaganda machine to label the Hizmet movement a terrorist organization without any reasonable scrutiny, noting that the recent amendments to important laws aim to increase the pressure on the political and social opposition, especially on those accused of alleged links to the Hizmet movement. The report states the chronology of events by explaining how and why the Hizmet movement, which is cherished worldwide for its efforts on peace, tolerance, and dialogue, have been stigmatized and labeled as a terrorist organization in Turkey through the government's political smear campaign. The report further emphasized that the disproportional measures have retroactively equated what have otherwise been legitimate and normal activities with terrorism, thereby effectively criminalizing freedom of expression, freedom of association, and other fundamental rights. This has introduced the prosecution of individuals for legitimate and non-violent exercise of human rights enshrined in both domestic and international law. The foundation has concluded that the post-coup crackdown on critics shows that the Turkish government is in a deliberate attempt to oppress all of the opposition by abusing the counterterrorism laws. Pointing out that the Turkish government has deprived hundreds of thousands of innocent people of their freedom, the Journalists and Writers Foundation called on the international community, particularly the United Nations, the Council of Europe, and the European Union, to urge the Turkish government to end its unlawfulness. In September 2017, the Journalists and Writers Foundation, of which Fethullah Gulen is the honorary president, has released a statement calling the international organizations to form an independent international commission to investigate the coup attempt that took place in Turkey on July 15, 2016. The foundation asked the United Nations to remove any of the vagueness and end the exploitation of the coup attempt and human rights violations by the Turkish government.
Bu ülkenin gerçekten çok zor günler yaşayacağını düşünüyorum.